I watched this video of some guy making a fish, and I was like, yep, no, I need that. And I'm thinking it's going to be about that size, and look something along the lines of this drawing. But first, we need to bulk it up with some tin foil, and then slap on some clay so I can start building up the details. Once I got on enough clay, or what I thought was enough clay, I realized it was not big enough to be the size that I wanted, so I added some more, and now I need to cut out the mouth and then start making the neck rolls, because it's going to be a fat boy. Like, I'm talking fat. He's got at least 6 or 7 neck rolls. Now with the quintuple neck roll done, I can start adding more interior detail on the mouth to make it more mouthy-like. And then after that's done, I can cut out the eye socket for the eyeballs and then add the eyeballs in. Now, I was aiming for a more scaly kind of texture for the top of the head, but I ended up going with more like a dragony, scaly, furry texture. I don't really know what it is, but nonetheless, I like it way more than any other scales could do. Now with the rocky looking textured skin, I can add some teeth that I pre-baked beforehand. After I'm done jabbing in 10 or 12 teeth into the upper and lower jaw, I can start to add the scaly texture for the body. After texturing them to make them look more like plates and then multiplying them by 2, I can start to add the texture that I made on the end of a paintbrush with some clay, and then I took a ball stylus and dented in some texture. And then I can add the top scales, which wasn't really what I was aiming for, but it worked out. I can then add on some other top scales that are more like a plate of armor, I guess. I can then pinch the plates to make them look more cuboid, and then use my ball stylus to roll in some texture. I can then make the back fin and then stick it onto the end of the tail. I can then blend it in all together and then add some other texture to make the tail stand out from everything else. Then I can add some texture onto this top spine looking thing. After I baked it, I can go ahead and add some cuts and damage into the plates, because this thing definitely got in a lot of fights back in its day. I can then prime it white, and then start painting, and I'm starting off with a gray here for the top of the head because I thought it looked cool because it looks kind of like a rock, and that's kind of what I was aiming for after I made the texture, so I thought it fit pretty well. I can then add a weird looking green wash to the neck rolls to give it some color variation. I originally painted the spine thing green and then realized that's not really what I wanted, so I repainted it gray and then gave it some dry brushes of lighter gray, and then eventually gave it a whole dry brush of just white, which really made the detail pop and stand out. can then paint this ball thingy gold and then give it some neon yellow and green highlights because I wanted it to look like it was glowing, and then paint the scales gray and then give them a lot of dry brushes to make the texture that I added earlier stand out, along with a shiny silver metallic color. I can then add some UV resin to the ball to make it look like it was glowing, and I can use my UV flashlight to harden it. I can then add a peach base coat to the bottom of the body because that's usually the color that most dragons and big fish animals have as their lower body. I can give it a dirty yellow wash to tie all the colors together. I can then paint the fin gray and give the eyeballs a solid black coating. To get started with the mouth, I'm gonna add a red base coat and then follow that up with lighter reds and pinks and purples to make the inside of the mouth really pop compared to everything else. I can then paint the teeth white and then give it a slight yellow wash to make them more dirtied up because nobody's teeth are perfectly white. Now, I want this to be in a resin cube, and to make the resin cube, I first have to make the mold, which is being held up by acrylic sheet with some tape and hot glue. Then, after 156 water tests, I can then finally add the resin while the fish is suspended with a fishing line. After the resin is fully cured, I can then remove it from the acrylic sheet mold and then admire how perfect the pour went, and then remove the excess resin that creeped up the sides of the mold while it was curing. And then I can go ahead and sand the whole thing and then admire how smooth I was actually able to get it. Now with the resin all cured, I think it's done. If you guys did enjoy the video, please leave a like, and I'll see you in the next one.